Hi. Oh, look, it's that old bald-bearded preacher again. I wanted to thank all of you who have recently subscribed to this channel. Given that this channel is dedicated to the Bible and to theology, it's actually quite encouraging to see the number of people who are interested in biblical theology. So thanks for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I suppose I'm sort of obligated to say that you're welcome to subscribe, and that will help our algorithm here on social media and get us more views overall, at least theoretically. So why have I dialed up the webcam today? Well, because today I want to talk about worship. Our modern English word, worship, is a contraction of two Old English words, worth-ship. This book right here is Ado's Dictionary of Word Origins, and I'm going to read you the entry in this book that talks about the derivation of our English word worship. It says, worship began life as a compound noun meaning virtually worthiness. It was formed from an adjective, worth, and from a noun suffix, ship, designating a state or a condition. And at first it was used for distinction, credit, or dignity. This soon passed into respect and reverence, but it was not used in specifically religious contexts until the 13th century. The verb dates back to the 13th century. These days, when we say worship, we most often think of it as a verb, as an activity. But the original word was an adjective. It meant that someone had a certain level of dignity, that they deserved respect or admiration. So keep that in mind as we continue to talk about worship, because the Hebrew word that is translated by the English word worship is the word shakah. That word equally means to bow down in front of somebody. It's a show of humility. It's a way of designating them as being superior to you. It's a way of humbling yourself in front of someone of more dignity or more worth. The same thing happens in the Greek language. It's the word proskuneo, which at its root means kiss toward. The picture of the word proskuneo is the idea of someone who has been defeated, who is down on their face in front of the person who has conquered them. And so, given all of that, given the word in Hebrew and the idea of bowing down in front of someone, and then giving the Greek word and the idea of kissing towards someone, and then thinking of the Old English noun, which was recognizing a superior person, you put those all together and you get a pretty good sense of what biblical worship is supposed to be, what it ought to be. Because it has become a verb through usage, when we say worship, we think of it as a church activity. But the reason I bring that up today is because so much of what we call worship in the church isn't really. For instance, when we sing to God, that can be a demonstration of praise, but depending on how we're doing that singing, if it's being done with big rock bands, if it's being done with great deals of showmanship, where the worship team on the stage is actually putting on a performance for the congregation who have become essentially a watching audience, well, that's nowhere near worship. If we're talking about people dancing around or waving their arms, perhaps that can be praise toward God, but it's not worship. Real, genuine, biblical, consistent worship is a state of recognition that God is far superior to you and that you ought to be on your face in front of him, that you ought to recognize his complete sovereignty and control and authority over you, and in that recognition, you prostrate yourself. You put yourself down in front of him. You put your face on the ground toward him in recognition that he is everything and you are utterly dependent on him. Okay, I just kind of needed to get that off my chest. I'll talk to you again real soon, and thanks again. Bye.